Hi guys, Brain here. Welcome to a different kind of video today. Today I kind of wanted to just get some things off my chest. I've been kind of struggling with DBD lately, and at first I want to mention that this is by no means saying that I'm just gonna like quit the game or take a break or anything. I kind of want to make that initially very prominently known that this isn't me saying I'm gonna quit or take a break or anything. I just kind of want to get some stuff off my chest because this is obviously a place where we talk about a lot of things that are wrong with the game or things that are weird with the game. So I feel like all these thoughts that I'm having about the game in a negative space are just kind of like something that you guys would relate to and empathize with. So it's going to be kind of like a rant video, but like obviously not as impassioned, but I'm just going to kind of like talk out of my chest here. I think I've been feeling kind of like out of it with DBD lately. I haven't really been feeling like thrilled to play it or enjoying it for about, I would say, a week or two now. And I feel like it's been a build up like over time. And a lot on this channel, we talk about like perk strength and map problems and all that wonderful stuff. But that's not what's driving me away from the game and making me like upset with the game and making me not want to like turn it on every day. It's really the community. Like this community is a very, very miserable, very, very like distraught community. They're very emotional and they're just like constantly upset about the game, literally all the time. And I think in a vacuum, if I played this game and like I wasn't playing it publicly, right? Like if I didn't have the YouTube channel, if I didn't have the Twitch channel, I don't think I would be having the issues that I'm having right now with the game. Because when I play, I for example, like the thing that brought this on is that I was playing, I had a really, really bad day on stream yesterday. I was playing, or is that going to be, is that 2 days from now, technically? Whatever. But I had a really, really bad day on stream. A lot of it was just audio issues, but a lot of it was just kind of like not enjoying the game and not enjoying my time streaming Dead by Daylight. And I think the main problem that I had didn't really come from like the game. Like aggravating stuff was happening, like getting, you know, there were bugs and I was getting, you know, I was getting dead-hearted a lot, and I was getting dead-hearted. I was getting all that stuff. I had some bugs happen that were really frustrating, but like the game itself was mostly fine. What was actually bothering me was just kind of like the community aspect behind it. Because like while I was streaming, I usually check my YouTube comments, and I get a lot of comments about people, you know, kind of just like trash talking the game and getting super upset about the game, talking about this really awful time they have with the game and how miserable they are. And then I'm reading that alongside people that come into my Twitch chat, and they're talking about like, oh, how awful the game is. They can't believe they still play it, and they just suffer every day playing this game. The game's in such a rough, awful spot, and they can't get out. And then I quit streaming, and then I watch a friend stream, and they're talking about how rough and awful the game is. They're talking about how terrible it is, and how everything's stupid about it, and how behavior doesn't care about anything ever, and everything's going to be awful forever. And it's just like the most like bleak community I've ever been in, and I like the most bleak gaming community I've ever been a part of. Like everything is so awful all the time, and everybody hates this game to their core, and it's so intense. And it was funny because I ended up playing Survivor with some friends after stream, just because it's the blood rush and we're trying to get points for our survivors, and it was fine. Like I had a great time. Like when it was just me and my friends in a Discord call, and we were just vibing, just trying to like get points out, complete challenges. Like it was just fine, and it was fun, and it was chill, and it was great. And it was like, why don't I feel this on stream? And I think it's because since I'm in like a public space playing the game, I am just so constantly exposed to people's just like over absorbent negativity with this game. Like it's crazy. Like it's just how intensely negative and hopeless this community is towards this game. And it's really, I think it's really, really hard to not get wrapped up into those things when you're playing the game, when you're trying to like, you know, play this, because I play this game 4 or 5 days a week. That just depends on like, you know, if I feel like playing off stream and that sort of thing. But I play this game a lot. But in terms of stream days, I stream it at least 4 days a week. So I stream this game a lot. So when I'm in that public space, it's kind of hard to ignore people's like overwhelming negativity. And obviously I make these YouTube videos, I make this YouTube content, I put that out on a daily basis. And it's really hard to avoid people's like overwhelming negativity there as well. And I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, at a certain point I get it, right? Like I have made this whole YouTube channel, and I have dedicated this whole YouTube channel to just like talking about, for the most part, things that are frustrating about the game, right? It's like 70-30, right? Like we cover some positive stuff sometimes, but for the most part, it's like, why is this perk so silly? Why is this map so dumb? And like most of my, like I would say 70% of my content is being critical of Dead by Daylight. But like even then, I don't get that. Like it feels so personal. I think that's a big thing. It feels so personal. Like people really feel like this game has like personally affected them and personally slighted them. Like yeah, when I load into the game and I get outplayed by dead hard like 90% of my matches, it's frustrating. But I don't take it personally. I don't feel like that player is personally mean to me, and I don't feel like DBD as a whole is against me. I don't feel like behavior just like hates me or anything like that. And this game is miserable. I don't make it to that point. I don't go to that point with this game ever. I'm just like, oh, that's really annoying, and then I just kind of get irritated and I move on with myself, you know. But I feel like people really like take that, like that energy, and then they internalize that, and they make it like a long-term thing. It's not just one thing that happened once that's kind of irritating. They just kind of like add it to a pile, and over time they become so entrenched with just how upset this game makes them that they just kind of at a certain point make it part of their identity. And I feel like that's, you know, they try to really like normalize it. I mean, it's a big thing as well. They really try to normalize like how upset and miserable this game makes them, and they internalize that into their personality. So they make it part of their personality as LOL, I hate DBD. And then they take it to the next step, is they try to normalize it. They try to make it to where like, well, everybody hates DBD, right? And there are plenty of people who don't actually hate DBD. Like there's plenty of streamers out there and content creators and people who play the game who don't hate Dead by Daylight, and they enjoy the game and they enjoy making content for the game. But they try to like kind of like lull you. I wouldn't say brainwash because that's too extreme, but you know, they try to lull you into like kind of thinking like, no, it's totally normal to be to hate this game and to feel miserable about this game on a daily basis, nonstop, all the time. And it's really hard to fight that because it's hard, especially when like so many people do it. It's hard to fight that kind of that aggressive negativity, because they're trying to like, because if they don't know how to quit the game, they want you to kind of suffer with them, right? Because at least you're suffering in company. At least misery has company. They're miserable together, so it's at least better. So they're trying to like pull you in and be like, oh well, no, you're miserable too, you hate this game too. Even if you don't feel that strongly about the things that you don't like about the game, they'll try to like loop you into this zone of like, oh well, DBD is the worst thing ever, and it took the kids and it never even bought the milk on the way home. You know, it's like, it's not that intense. It's really not that intense. But you know, if they normalize that, they try to make it seem like, oh yeah, it is that intense, and it's happening to everybody, then it's easier for them to kind of like push that narrative. And I think that's the kind of situations like that are really starting to make me like miserable playing this game, because when you're playing in a public forum, you kind of can't avoid those people that come in and say and feel those things, whether that be on the YouTube or the Twitch. And I think it's just kind of like wearing on my brain. I mean, like I try my best to kind of like either brush it off or just kind of casually disagree, right? But when it happens every single day, all the time, it just gets so exhausting. And then I feel like seeping in, right? And then I start feeling negative and I start feeling grumpy. Even if I'm not like outwardly, like on the surface level, agreeing with them, like the feelings start seeping in. And then I start feeling super negative, and I start getting upset with the game and feeling really hateful towards the game and feeling that the game did bad things to me. And I don't want to go down that route, but like that's like part of the overall plan, right? It's just like, if you also feel that, then I feel better about the fact that I'm miserable with the game and I can't stop playing it. And it's just, I don't know. And I think that's the main thing. I think it's just like the game is like the game. I don't think the game bothers me that much. Like I would say if I had to put it at a number, I enjoy the game like 75% of the time that I play it. And then the other 25% is kind of annoying. And some days it's 80, some days it's 70, you know, like it falters. And they're doing a lot to like fix the things that like I find annoying. So it's like progressively getting better over time. So I don't really have that bleak of an outlook on the game. I know there's a lot wrong with it, and there's a lot that I feel like needs fixing and needs to be criticized. And thankfully, through the 6th anniversary stream, they said that they are going to be fixing a lot of those issues. I don't get this like overall need to like drag everybody down and make them feel like garbage. about the game, and I feel like it's like scratching and clawing. It's just been on my mind lately, just this feeling of like, oh my god, like I'm surrounded by people who just like fester in their hatred and seething unhealthy obsession with how much this game has supposedly like hurt them or made them miserable, and they want everybody to feel the same way. And I'm just trying to like shake the cobwebs, kind of like shake that off. And I guess I just wanted to talk about it because I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but kind of just like put out feelers, I guess, and be like, hey, is this something you deal with? Do you like mostly enjoy the game, but like, do you find yourself facing like this level of like super intense like negativity from people? And how do you like handle that? How do you handle somebody who's like super duper negative and like intense about how bad, quote unquote, this game is and how much it hurts them? And how do you not fall into that, like, how do you not like have those feelings like spouted at you and like not kind of like sponge it up? Like, how do you like refute that? How do you like stay away from that? Because I think that's something that I'm struggling with right now, and I think that's like the main thing. If I could point to anything that's kind of like making my experience with DBD kind of like upsetting right now, it's just kind of like the community's overwhelming negativity for the game, and more so the community's need for you to share their overwhelming negativity towards the game. If you have any like experiences or anything that like, or practices, or even just kind of like, you know, what's the good word for that? Attitudes or philosophies when it comes to like dealing with that, I would love to hear them, because I think I'm kind of in a spot where it's like, I don't really know what to do about it per se. I've never been in a situation where like people are trying to overwhelmingly get me to hate a game and be miserable in a game that I play, you know, and it's harder right now. And I promise I'll stop ranting. This will probably be the last thing I say. I feel like it's different because I play this game 4 or 5 days a week, and I'm constantly I make content literally daily for this game. I kind of in a sense live here, you know. It'd be like if somebody like stepped in your house and said, wow, this place is garbage. This place sucks to live in. This place is terrible. And you didn't even think about these things until like they started like pointing them out and getting super highly critical and like freaking out and making a bigger deal of it than it has to be. And then they leave. But you're still thinking about all the stuff that they said, where they kind of like were super like trying to convince you that the house or the apartment or whatever you lived in was super terrible. And that kind of gets to your head. Like, but like, you don't do that to a person because they live there, you know? You don't do that to a person because that's where they live. That's where they have to spend all their time. But, you know, that you can't yourself always keep those thoughts out, even if that person's just being like kind of unreasonable. So I don't know. I think it sucks more because I do spend so much time in this game that people are trying to get me to hate it, because I kind of like, in a sense, like work here or live here, you know, in a weird way. Like, it's like, you know, if you get me thinking negatively about the game, this does encompass a lot of like what I do, right? So it's a lot more like intense and frustrating. It hits harder than I think it would somebody who only plays the game like once a week, if that, you know. But yeah, like I said, if there's anything sort of like philosophies or thoughts that you have on how to like handle that stuff, I am all ears, because, you know, I feel like not even just for me, but for a lot of people, that stuff could be really, really helpful if you have good thoughts and feelings about how to not fall into this kind of like hive mind of hatred that the game seems to like proliferate in its community. So yeah, I don't have much else to say, I guess. That's just kind of like the most, I just kind of want to get that off my chest, and just for like empathy's sake, in case you're feeling similar ways that, like, you know, hey, we're together, we're feeling the same thing. If you guys have any sort of ideas, thoughts, or philosophies that helps with this kind of like, you know, situation, then that could be good for not just me, but everybody else as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hearing me out. I know it's a little bit of a different video. It's a little bit more like off the cuff and kind of just like literally straight from the chest, you know, and a little bit more not intense, but like a little bit more serious than just, hey, perk stupid, which is usually kind of what I do. So thank you guys for hearing me out and hanging out with me today. I do upload daily though, so I will see you tomorrow. And if I don't, I will see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.